Assalamu alaikum once again to my brothers and sisters in Islam. One of the things that show us Muslims that the Christians have no clue what they're talking about when they criticize Islam is when they bring up a topic like the Quran is attesting to and confirming the Bible that's found nowadays, or at least they're hoping that the Quran is confirming the Bible that's found nowadays. And of course, as we know that the Bible is a true book, a revelation from Allah. The Torah was brought down as a true revelation from Allah onto Moses, and Jesus also, peace be upon him, received the Injil, the Gospel. He received it from Allah, and it is a true revelation, and Allah taught Jesus, peace be upon him, the Old and the New Testament. He taught him the Torah, and he taught him the Injil. And of course, after Jesus, peace be upon him, the book was changed and tampered with. The Old Testament, the New Testament were changed and tampered with, and before the coming of the Prophet, peace be upon him. But then the Christians come back at us and say, but why does your book in chapter 5 verse 43 say this? It says, but why do they come to you for decision, meaning the Jews came to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, for decision, when they have their own law before them? Therein is the plain command of Allah. So they try to make it look like the Quran is confirming the Bible that was at the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him, confirming the Torah that was at the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and that it was preserved. And of course this is false. But I reply to the Christians, and I always reply and say, which version of the different versions of the Bible does the Quran, or is the Quran attesting to? Is it the 66 books or the 73 books? Which book is it attesting to? And of course, they have no answer when I say that. And watch how lame their arguments are when it comes to this point, is because the Quran was referring to a specific command that was not changed in the Bible. Not confirming the whole Bible, because we know as Muslims that not the whole Bible was changed. There is a lot of truth still in there. And of course the Prophet, peace be upon him, said in one of his hadith, do not believe in all what the people of the book have to say, and at the same time do not call them liars, because they could have some truth to what they're saying. But again, the Bible, the Old and New Testament, they were tampered with and they were changed. So back to verse 5, or chapter 5 verse 43, it says, but why do they come to you for decision when they have their own law before them? Therein it is a plain command of Allah. So let's examine their claim. It says in Bukhari, reported by Malik bin Anas, it says that some Jews came to the Prophet, peace be upon him, and were asking him for a decision, and basically trying to mock the Prophet, peace be upon him, and trying to make fun of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and seeing what he has to say about this subject. So they came to him and told him that we're going to ask you for judgment on two people from us that committed adultery, and both of them were married. And of course the Jews at that time were living under the state of Islam in Medina. So they came to him and asked him this question, and the Prophet, peace be upon him, immediately asked him, what does it say in your book? And one of the Jews lied to the Prophet, peace be upon him, and told him something else. But then Abdullah bin Salam came to the Prophet, peace be upon him, and told him that they're lying, because it says in there to stone these people to death. And to make a long story short, the verses came down and pointed out that these people are lying, and said that why do they come to you for decision when it says that same thing in their book about this specific command to basically stone them to death. And then the Christians come and try to make it look like the Quran is confirming the Christian book, or the Bible that's found nowadays, or the what's so-called Bible. And by doing that, they're just twisting things up and basically lying to people to make it look like the Quran is confirming the Bible that's found now, where in fact it was only talking about a specific command that was still not altered in the Torah. And there's many verses like it in the Torah which are not altered. So now let us see if the Quran is truly attesting to and confirming the Bible that was found at the time of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Chapter 2, verse 79 of the Quran, and many other verses like it, it says, "Then woe to those who write the book," meaning the Bible, "with their own hands, and then they say, 'This is from God,' to traffic with it a miserable gain. Woe to them from what their hands write, or their hands do write, and for the gain they make thereby." Oops, I thought the Bible or the Quran was confirming the Bible. But clearly it shows that there were changes made by the people for miserable gains to change the Bible. So it was changed. So then the Christians come back at us and say, when was the Bible corrupted? Well, sir, we don't have a specific date for you, but what we can tell you is this. They ask us, that was it changed before Jesus or after Jesus or at the time of Muhammad or after Muhammad? So I'll tell you that for sure it was changed before the time of Muhammad, peace be upon him, because the Quran refers to that. And then they say, well, the Quran says that Jesus came and confirmed the Bible, or the Old Testament, the Torah. But here's what they leave out, is that God says in the Quran, it says at chapter 5, verse 110, halfway through the verse, you'll see, it says, "Behold, I taught you," meaning Jesus, "the book, the book and wisdom, the law and the gospel." So God taught Jesus, peace be upon him, whether it was changed or not, or I don't know when it was changed, God taught Jesus, peace be upon him, the Old Testament and the New Testament. So up until then, the Bible was good. After Jesus, peace be upon him, the people started altering again and changing their Bible. So God taught Jesus, peace be upon him, what was missing from the Bible. And that's what he confirmed. He confirmed the Torah and the Injil that God taught him. Here's one other thing I thought was funny, and I'm going to comment on, is one day I was watching YouTube, and there was a guy by the name of Sam Shamoun. You guys know him, that big, fat, bald kid, the liar. He quotes the Quran in chapter 3, verse 55. And he says, somehow he comprehended from this that the Quran was referring to the Christians, and that God was going to give Christians the victory until Judgment Day. So God is going to give victory to the Christians until Judgment Day. Here's what the Quran says in that chapter, in that verse. Verse 55, it says, "Behold, God said, O Jesus, I will take you and raise you to myself, and clear you from the falsehood of those who blaspheme me. I will make those who follow you superior to those who reject faith, until day of resurrection. Then shall you all return to me, and I will judge between you of the matters wherein you dispute." So Sam Shamoun got from this, or thought that this verse is saying that the Christians are going to get victory from God until Judgment Day. Well, did they? No, they didn't. So again, let's examine their claim. God says, "I will make those who follow you," meaning Jesus, "superior over those who reject faith until Judgment Day." And as we know, there were two parties of the children of Israel. A party that said, no, he's not the Messiah that was prophesied in the book, and a party that said, yes, it is him, and he is the Messiah, the messenger of God. So is it talking about, is that verse, is chapter 3, verse 55, talking about the people that were submitters at the time of Jesus, peace be upon him, that believed in God as one, and believed that Jesus, peace be upon him, is the messenger of God? Or is it talking about the modern day Christians that believe in the Trinity,